Welcome to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast, an interview-driven show focused on stories over stats, and your number one home for everything happening in FCS football, the Big Sky Conference, and of course, your UC Davis Aggies. Each week, we sit down with players, coaches, alumni, and voices around the program to dive deep into the stories that matter and have a little fun along the way. This is Aggie Pride. This episode is proudly sponsored by Next Level Sports, delivering the best youth sports experience. If you have a young, aspiring athlete in 1st through 7th grade, this is your chance to get on the field with Next Level flag football at UC Davis. All teams are coached by a current UC Davis Aggies football player, giving kids real mentorship from the same student athletes who practice and play on the same field within the Aggies football program. All activity takes place at UC Davis Health Stadium, so you get the full game day experience every week. Whether your participant is brand new to the sport or already obsessed with football, Next Level focuses on skill building, teamwork, and growth. It's an incredible way to build confidence, make friends, and learn from true role models. Sign up today at nextlevelsports.com. Give your athlete the best youth sports experience. Welcome back to Aggie Pride Podcast. I'm in Coach Plough's office, which is pretty amazing. Very beautiful view of the practice field, and we're right in the middle of spring ball. And so first and foremost, Coach, welcome to the show. Thanks for having me in your home.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. I don't know if we could fit all this stuff in here. So this is nice. Yeah, this is an exciting time, and this is my favorite time as a coach is spring, because there's no games, there's no winners and losers. You're just coaching and developing the team. So it's been fun.
Nice. We were saying, so we have a producer Paul is going to make the cut today.
Nice.
Paul Bulware, for those who don't know, is a local Davis resident farmer. Get your mixed veggies from Paul. But he has kids who play baseball.
Yeah.
And around your age. And so I do kind of want to start with, we know Coach Plough, head coach, UC Davis football, but there's like another Coach Plough from what I hear. Can you share with the audience like the other roles that you?
Yeah, I think it's a tribute more to Davis and the community itself. My sons love baseball. They're big sports guys, but for whatever reason, they have gravitated to baseball, and the Davis Little League around here does a great job. And so, the last 2 years we've been heavily involved in that community. My oldest son being on the all-star team, and they won the districts last year. And so this year, my oldest son really wanted me to coach, and I've always kind of stayed away from coaching them in the sports just to keep the pressure off of them and just be a dad. And I didn't know if I would have time to do that, to be quite honest. But, the Davis Little League really reached out to me, and they were like, hey, if you want to coach, hey, we'll work around your schedule. Like we'll make sure the games are on the off days. And if you got practice Saturday morning, we'll make sure the game's in the afternoon so you can coach your son. And so I was a little hesitant, but I'm coaching the 10-year-olds basically in the Little League. And then my 7-year-old and 5-year-old, they're also playing. So if I'm not in this office right now, I'm at that field. Wow. So basically those are the two places I'm at, but it's been really fun just to get around the kids, and I think it's just a great tribute to the community that they wanted me to be able to coach my sons, and they, made that work, which was really cool.
I wonder, we need to like somehow get this out to the world. Is there another Division I college football coach who's coaching youth sports? Do you think it's a yes? Do you think there's like 15, or do you think?
I hope so. I hope that, but I know obviously from my experiences it's pretty unique. Yeah. And you need a lot of help. Like you need people around you to make that work. And so I'm sure that number is a smaller number, but yeah, I think it's just part of why I wanted to be a head coach. I wanted to be able to create an environment where all these other coaches see me leaving the office at 4:00 on Thursday night to go coach the Little League game. And if I'm doing that, then they should feel comfortable doing that. I know a couple of our other dads are coaching their kids in sports and stuff. And you got to make your families a part of this for it to actually be meaningful. And I learned that from Bob and Lou and Roski and all those guys. Like, we want our kids around this. They want to be involved, and it allows me to be involved in the community too. We've met some great people, and And I think that also, again, helps with the whole thing we're trying to grow. We want everyone to be a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I relate to it even in some ways, like even sitting here right now, it's like full-time work, family, passion projects, podcast. It's like there's so much to I think even nowadays, like the modern work experience, like
Yeah.
maybe in the past it was like you have your 9 to 5. But one kind of other thought that came to mind when you were talking about that is just like how how is it going from coaching like a 22-year-old kid, or say like you're talking to Jackson and Trainer out there during 7 on,
Right.
and then you go to okay, now I'm with a 9-year-old. Like how different and the same are you in those moments as a coach?
Yeah, it's actually been really rewarding for me. I mean, I haven't delved into that kind of stuff, but for example, like last night, we've had a lot of wins with that team. So we were undefeated, and we lost our first little league game last night, and a bunch of the kids are upset, and it was for them an intense game. They lost a close game at the end, and just being able to talk to the kids about like, hey, it's okay to cry when you lose a game.
Yeah.
Like that just means you care, and that's okay. And I even coaching the parents on like, don't be upset with your son for crying when he
Mhm.
loses. That's okay. Like you want him to care a lot, that it creates those emotions. But also talking, I was telling the team last night, the little league team, the same thing I tell our guys, which is you really don't lose. You either win or you learn.
Yeah.
And so here's a learning experience for us. And we can come back Sunday night and have our next game and hopefully play better. And before we break every game to run out to the field, I was telling them like, hey, detach from the results. Let's just find some joy. Let's go play some great baseball. And that's been fun for me to see. And I even saw the other day, I was picking up a couple of the kids left their hats after practice, and two of the kids had written "find joy" in the bill of their hat. And I just thought, man, that's if they can learn that when they're 9, 10 years old. And it feels like, again, if I can give back to the community and that's my way of giving back, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. I remember my first youth football season, end of the season, we lose in the playoffs, like Pittsburgh, California, played the West Pitt Panthers or something. 8-year-old Brock, like, just wrecked me. It's just, I feel like maybe seeing it from my older brother too, but like it matters even at that age, and it's like you put a lot of time into it. Um, there's some big news, and Flush was like, you should talk about this, which is an announcement that's going to be happening today. By the time people listen to this, it's already known, official. Your guys are back. The Connors Bros are back. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just how thankful I am that those boys got treated the right way. I think in college sports right now, there's just so many things going on that it feels like there's a lot of negativity. Here's a great example of like two guys that just operate with the highest level of class, and they work their tail off, and they really care about something. Let's not take it away from them. That's the first thing. I mean, the joy that they felt on the phone when I told them a couple weeks ago was just like, man, if I could bottle that up, it was a pretty cool moment. And then I think the other example is the leadership we have on campus. It was a all out, everybody involved. It was not looking good. We were getting no's left and right, and felt like it was going on a bad trajectory. And man, Rocco deserves a lot of credit. He got a lot of people involved. He talked to Chancellor May, and then Chancellor May got involved, and he agreed to hire outside counsel. And the fact that we were able to hire outside counsel and that we paid for it for the boys, that outside counsel is the ones that found the information that we needed to prove our case. And then when we went to the NCAA, Lydia Sandlin, Kyle Condor, who's been hired recently into our compliance office, they really dug in and just were relentless and not taking no for an answer. And to finally get the NCAA to call back and say, you know what, you're right. Like they do deserve their year back. This is different than some of these other cases. There's no politics to it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone worked together to get that done. And so to be able to formally announce that, we've been sitting on it for a couple of weeks, like waiting for it to be official. But on the front end, obviously it makes our team extremely competitive when you add two players like that. But I just think of the bigger picture is I just feel great for two kids that have done things the right way. The family has handled itself with such class. And then the sign of our chancellor, our AD, our compliance office, everybody working together to help these kids out. It was a really cool moment.
It's huge. I mean, for fans, for the current team, like just remembering what it was like to have substantial players on a team. Like when I was first in the program, I remember looking up to like a Bakari, looking up to a Chris Carter, having the NFL scouts at practice, like it does something for fringe guys like me to see like, oh, these guys are leading the way. They have the talent. And then, like you said, and it was fun. We got to run into Porter for a little bit, just the way they carry themselves. It's the classic Davis guy type of persona. So let's chat a little bit about spring now, because we're
Yeah.
right in the thick of it. You guys have spring game this weekend, which will have already taken place by the time we release this. And then, you know, you've been building up like this quarterback room. You brought in Jackson. I saw Trainer out there. Let's start there.
Yeah.
How do you feel that each of those guys have performed and the rest of the quarterback room? And one question is like, where do you think they're maybe ahead of schedule? And then where are some areas that you're pinpointing like, hey, we still need to improve here?
Yeah, I think the first part would be let's start with Trainer. You come in as a very highly touted recruit for us, and there's kind of a plan in place of what we thought was going to happen, and then all of a sudden there's a big change, and you go from thinking you might have time to develop and wait to, hey, now you got to compete to be the guy. And so that comes with some added pressure to that, and I thought that his off season really stood out to me. My window looks out onto Bob Biggs Field. And so in the winter from January to March, guys are training with Coach Burke, but we're not doing any football. But Trainer was. I mean, every single day I'm looking on the grass and he's got 10, 12 guys out there and he's working with them and trying to get himself prepared to play. And I just thought that showed some great maturity and leadership from him. Like, hey, I'm gonna have to earn this. Like, I got to go really work hard for it. And that's been great to see. I think with Jackson, the first thing I would say is it's really hard when you're a new guy transferring in. You obviously have high expectations. And the first thing you got to do is you got to really ingratiate to the team and you got to become a teammate and get to know guys. And I really would say what makes me think he's going to be a great player is just that he's done a great job of that. Like, he has become a great teammate. He's become part of our environment. He gets along with a lot of the guys on the team. Him and Trainer get along really well. And that to me, again, just shows signs of a good person, good human that just wants an opportunity to play and compete. And so that part has been cool for us to see. And you get into spring practice, and I think the cool part is, the first week Trainer was going with the ones. This week Jackson's been going with the ones. And, you need to fail. Like, you need to go out there and make mistakes, throw interceptions, have a bad snap, call a play wrong. Because you only learn through failing. Like, you have to do these things wrong over and over. And so they put a lot of pressure on themselves, and they'll have some tough days, but then they have some great days. And I thought the cool sign for just our team and that room in general was last week on Wednesday, we had a full padded live practice, some third downs. And I don't know if they could have played any worse. I mean, it was an awful day for the quarterbacks. I mean, I'm in the quarterback room after, and I'm getting after Coach Shelton and the offensive staff. What are we doing? We got to get these guys going. And our next practice was Friday, and they both played tremendous. And then our scrimmage was Saturday, and they both played tremendous. And all of a sudden, so just to see them respond after a bad practice and push each other to come out and play well, I thought I told Shelton after Saturday scrimmage, I was like, we're going to be fine, because those guys bounced back and made some great plays and really operated. And I know they both want to play. They both have the ability to play, but our goal was we need both guys ready to play. As we learned last year, you can't win with just one quarterback. And so bringing those guys along has been good. Unfortunately, Axel, who was off to a good start of camp, pulled his hamstring. And so he'll probably be out the rest of spring, which was going to set him back a little bit. But again, he's been working really hard. I think one of the cool things about Davis, again, is, Axel's trying to grow his physical skills as a passer. He's not a natural thrower like Jackson and Trainer maybe are. And so who did Axel reach out to on his own, but our very own Bob Biggs, right? Who's maybe the greatest quarterback coach I've been around. So I would look out on the grass field and I'd see Bob Biggs out there with Axel Eason, and they're going through throwing, right? And they're filming it. And then they're coming back up here and watching the film together. And I was like, man, that is a Davis guy. Like, just, he knows, okay, I need to seek this out. I need to get better. I can't work with the coaches technically, right, during this time. So I'm going to get Coach Biggs to help me out. Right. And, so I think all three of those guys are growing, and the quarterback room's in a great spot.
So quarterback coach, you mentioned Coach Biggs. Something that stood out to us and watching practice today is Coach Schelt getting on the guys at certain points of the team and individual periods, and just noticing you kind of in the background calling the plays in. We were interested too, like they had the little coiled thing. I was like, is this a different, that's maybe an aside, you can talk about that, but like the headset, like is that like a practice thing? But has your role, like in a one-to-one coaching the quarterback, shifted, or like is this a normal practice like what I witnessed, where you're more so like, hey, I'm in, not that you're in the booth, but you get what I'm kind of talking about there. Just kind of talk about the coaching of the quarterback specifically in the current iteration.
Yeah, I think I have to be the head coach first, and I think that's something I've really tried to do in my role of like, hey, I can't be the offense coordinator and I can't do the normal things I did at practice back in the day. Like, I need to be able to manage the entire team. I need to have my eyes on a lot of things. I think the first year it seemed I was probably more involved, but that was more because just my relationship with Miles was much different than everybody else. And we were trying to build something. So, and I think for Coach Shelton, and I think he would say the same, he really never coached quarterbacks before, and it was, people might have on the outside thought it was a risky move. I knew him as the person, as the teacher, that he would be a tremendous quarterback coach, but I was also trying to help him grow and gain confidence and get comfortable. And I was just joking with him the other day, like, part of it is he has become the coordinator and the quarterback coach. Like, he has really grown as a coach to become as good as I've been around. And so there's things that happen in practice and I'll feel myself about to say something and he'll say it before I even can. So it's made me feel more comfortable. And I like that he has the ability to make it his own thing now. And I'm just trying to be more of the Yoda, I guess, in the background of giving them things that I see. I meet a lot with the quarterbacks privately. I do a lot of stuff in the meeting rooms. We learned a lot from, just full transparency. I think, when Caden left, one of the comments, I know from his team was based around like, well, I don't get to work with Coach Plough. I thought I was going to get to work with him. And so even talking with trainer and those guys, it was like, hey, we love Coach Shelton and he does a great job. He doesn't do he's as good as we can be around, but we do want to be around you, And so I did try a lot more this offseason to have one-on-one meetings with those guys, and trainer and Axel were here. So, I would meet one-on-one with them and give them insights. And then I'll sit in the meeting room and pop my head in and give them my thoughts. But I don't need to do much. Paul's pretty special. And I think all he's done in his 2 years as quarterback coach is have the greatest season in the history of quarterback play and the, freshman of the year candidate. And so I think he obviously knows what he's doing, but it's been cool for me to watch him be more comfortable and become more vocal and to really take over that room. The headset thing is just more of what we learned last year is, we had a young quarterback and Caden struggled a little bit with some of the stuff pre-snap. And so he did a lot better when I was in his ear and could tell him things pre-snap. Some guys like that, some guys don't.
Okay.
And we can't set the headsets up every practice because we just don't have the manpower to do that. Yeah. Some programs have 50 people that can do that, and we really have Ari and her equipment people, and that's it. So we try to keep the days where we hook all that up down to a minimum. So we kind of, on Wednesdays and Saturdays, we will hook that up. But right now on Mondays and Fridays, we don't. And what we learned last year in practice is we can still use this walkie-talkie and we can get that earpiece in there for them just so they can still get used to hearing me
practice or during those periods.
Yeah. So when you see me on the walkie, I'm telling them little coaching points and little things to work on.
Interesting.
And that gets them used to hearing that during the game type stuff.
And the other thing I noticed today is you had, and even when I was setting up in here, a couple guys walk by. I'm like, oh, that's just Miles Hastings and Jake Mayer. So what's it like having those guys back in that practice?
Yeah, I don't know if Jake has really been back here. I know he came back 2024 for our playoff game, but him and Miles reached out and they really wanted to spend some time here, we're gonna play some golf later today,
Nice.
you have a special relationship with certain guys. Miles and Jake are family to me, and so for them to want to come out and just see practice and help out the young quarterbacks, and they want to get their eyes on Jackson and Trainer and Axel and be around Shelton, and Jake got to speak to the team today in the team meeting, and that was a kind of a cool emotional moment for me to see. Here's this guy that really I view Jake as a brother. I kind of have Miles more as a son, but I really view Jake as a brother. We grew up together in the game. We learned a lot from each other. We pushed each other to be great. And I have a lot of my career to thank Jake for, and he was joking that he has a lot, to thank me for. And I think we feel that bond. I'm so proud of him, but to see him talking to the team and the things he was saying to them and what it meant to him to be here, that was a cool moment for me just to see that transpire over the time. Because as I was telling the team, like, there are certain players I've been around that have a self-confidence about themselves that really can't be matched. And you can't create self-confidence just by like speaking into a mirror every day. It comes from proof. Like, it's irrefutable evidence that makes you are who you say you are. And Jake did that every single day. And because of that, he's played professional football now for 7 years, and a guy that had no scholarship offers and nobody wanted him. And I think it just proves like who he is. And for him to be able to speak that into our players was a cool moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it makes me think of something that you said last year. You said, hey, we need to get multiple generations together. Like, we should do a podcast like that, which we still need to do. But just seeing guys who've come before around the facility, and even during one of the periods where the quarterbacks were, I don't know, they were going through like screen passes just with Coach Sheldon in the north end zone, and Jake and Miles are right there. And just thinking of the moments where it might just be one little anecdotal thing that they can share, or something like you said. I see Jake's, CFL jersey up on the wall here, just something that he's learned at that level. Like, that's invaluable, because a lot of these guys don't have that experience of having someone who's done it before them. And so I'm thinking about quarterbacks and like setting up a quarterback for success. It's coaching, but it's also protection. And so Zaire, and I see David at right guard, but I'm thinking of those other three guys and some of the pieces like Eli who aren't here. How do you feel about that group and what Coach Cody's been doing with the O-line?
We were actually just talking as a staff yesterday in our staff meeting that that's probably the group that I feel the best about on the entire team. You lose Eli, you lose Nava, Jace Rodriguez, who was going to come back. He ended up retiring. I think he was just going through it and didn't feel like he could keep going. And you lose guys like that. Those have been kind of anchors. But man, Zaire is such a special player. Probably goes undervalued, to be quite honest, and how talented he is and just leading the show. David Main has been as steady as it comes, and he's a guy that didn't have to come back but wants to be here for one more year. But I think the cool part has been AJ Hassan is that guy is as good of a player as we've had here in a long time. And again, the family connection through Paul and just playing here at Davis and what he's shown, he is a physical presence. David Portisano, who played a lot as a true freshman, just to see his growth, he is a special player that will have a chance to play far beyond Davis. And then we got this great competition going on between Jaden Montanez, Jesniah Thurston, Fanua, all three of these guys, and they have been way beyond what I expected at this point. So you really got 7, 8 guys right now that are playing at a really high level. And I would also mention Jace Denning is a guy that has had a great camp, actually came in here as a walk-on. And he's a guy that we feel really confident could play for us right now. and then you see young Robert Beverly out there at left tackle, early enrollee, 6'7", 300-pound kid. So Mike's built a very deep room. It's as physical and athletic as we've ever had. We are going to be really talented up front, and we've worked really hard to build that so that when those guys left, we knew they were going to leave at some point. Do we have enough guys behind him? And then the class of guys he's bringing in this year with Beverly and a couple of these other guys, I think it's really just going to continue. So it shows Mike's recruiting prowess, but it also shows him his ability as a coach. But that group I feel great about.
Yeah, I remember last year, probably was in the fall, talking with you at a practice, and you're like, we're going to be able to run the ball. Like, we have a group who can move some people. Landon and Ulonzo, like, they made stuff happen, but it's going to be different. We ran the ball really well last year. We have a good running back room coming back, and that's kind of the segue to coaches. So there's Mike Cody. There's another Coach Cody. We just met him, and I butchered him on the last podcast. Apologies. Running back coach, I need your pronunciation help.
Yeah.
Special teams coordinator, which is big news. And I'm hearing, even talking to some of the old timers who come by practice, the Mike Shaws of the world, that they are already seeing like, hey, there's a really solid improvement in special teams. So can you talk about each of those coaches and help me with my pronunciation?
Yeah. So we'll start with Coach Von Oppen. So Cody, I call him Cody V. Cody's like family for Christine and I. When we were coaching in Northern Arizona, and Cody V came over as a really young coach, starting out, volunteering, grad assisting, working his way up. And he was a guy that, was always over at the house, and Christine and us taking care of him and his now wife, Cindy, who was his girlfriend at the time. And so he was a guy that I've always kind of looked at as a family member. Tried to hire him when I first got here, tried to steal him away from Cal Poly, but he wanted to be a defense coordinator. But I always thought in the back of my mind, if I could hire anyone to be special teams, it would be him, because of just, he is a magnet. He is a magnetizing force that can bring people, just his personality. His father, Fred Von Oppen, was a famous coach that coached with Bill Walsh at Stanford and the Niners. And through the NFL for all these years. So Cody's been around NFL football his whole life. His dad was coaching at the Minnesota Vikings with Randy Moss and those guys. And Cody's the ball boy with Larry Fitzgerald, So, I mean, like, he's been around a lot of football. And so when the transition happened at Cal Poly, I just felt like we needed to improve special teams. And it's not a knock on Coach Chapetti or Coach Jackson. It's just that both those guys, their heart is not in special teams.
Yeah.
Coach Chapetti wants to be an offense coordinator one day. And I think we need to help build him to be that. Coach Jackson wants to be a defense coordinator one day, and he ends up going back to South Dakota. I need a guy that wants to be the special teams coordinator and wants to be with me the same way that Jeff Burke wants to be the strength coach and wants to be with me. And so our improvement as a special teams unit, our fundamentals and techniques, our detail, the teaching, the community feel to it. There is just a vibe right now that we haven't had. And sometimes when you're hiring people, I've learned, like, you're just not sure. I hope this works out. I don't know. You knew in 5 minutes, like, we just hit a home run. This guy is a special coach. He's really hungry. He knows a lot about Davis, coaching against Davis. I think our improvement at special teams will be seen through that. Coach Vavai Malapai is the running back coach. I hope I said that right. But Coach Vi, really, you think about the connection. So Coach Andy Thompson is maybe my best friend in the coaching world, former head coach at Sac State. He's now was the defensive coordinator at Stanford. He's not a linebacker coach at Stanford. He worked with Vi at Stanford. So Vi played running back at USC, was part of those great USC teams, and has been coaching at Stanford as an assistant coach and a recruiting guy. And so when Andy saw that Coach Kevin Burke had left, he called me immediately and was like, listen, this guy would love to be there. He really needs his own room. He is ready. He'll be a great recruiter and a great coach. And talking with Fisher and Mateo and those guys, their big ask was, hey, I want someone that's played running back and that can give me insight into things that you only know when you play the position, And that was something we looked at when we were hiring. And but just the vibes of Vi. He's got a Davis, UC DNA in the sense of like who he is as a person. Great teacher. He's really hungry. Obviously, it's his first time running a room.
Yeah.
But the other side part of that is we've really tried to improve our recruiting, and one of the areas we want to really recruit is Hawaii.
Yeah.
And Vi is very well known in Hawaii as a recruiter. Cody Von Oppen, born and raised in Hawaii. Trey Shimabukuro, born and raised in Hawaii. So now we got 3 coaches on staff that know Hawaii and are going to help us recruit the island. As Coach Pete really instructed me when I took over here, he's like, you need to dominate in Hawaii. That's where you need to really get players. And so it's kind of worked out as a perfect storm there with Vi.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, schools like UC Davis, we know this, we know the coaching history, but FCS programs, like it is still, as you're mentioning with Coach Vi, I like that I can do that. Like this is his first time running a room, and that is what programs in the Big Sky can do for a GA or an analyst or, like you said, a recruiting coordinator from an FBS school. So it's cool to see that. And then to think of the previous coach, Kevin Burke, who's now getting an opportunity to be, run an offense back at his alma mater is really cool. Coaches work long hours. They got a lot going on. How do you be healthy? And we talked about like the last time you were here and this time you're here, I said, you just look healthy. And so a different type of topic than I think a lot of coaches might get a chance to speak about. But people see that, like people appearance, it can be a shallow thing, but it also, I mean, it can be a really impactful thing. Going back to even the comment I made about, when you have a Bakari Grant or a Chris Carter or a Keelan Doss or a Rex Connors and they're specimens, like physical specimens that can give confidence. Talk about like your personal health journey, like where you find yourself now and like what you feel like has helped you be a healthier version of David.
I think it's like it goes back to like creating an environment that is going to help you do your best work, and I think, my journey through my weight has been a struggle ever since I got done with college, and you can remember when I was a young coach, like it was, I don't want this to be a bad word, but it was embarrassing almost for me, how much weight I had gained and where I was at in my life. And a lot of that was just, again, personal health and mental health. I was in such a bad place mentally when I was done playing here. And, it was really, like I said, those meetings with Coach Soker helped a lot. Trying to get myself in a place of like, how can I find time to be healthy and what does that look like? And learning from Coach Biggs, who might be the healthiest person on the planet, or Mike Morosky, another guy who's just a health nut, Coach Bronson, all these guys are always out there. They found time to go for a run. They found time to get a workout in. And, I got to Boise and we haven't talked at full length maybe about my experience there, but the environment there for me was an unhealthy one. And I found that I went from being what I thought was healthier to spiraling back to unhealthy. And for me, when I'm unhealthy, it shows in weight gain. It's always been that way for me. So I look at pictures that when I got to Boise and when I got fired from Boise, and again, I was ballooned up and really unhealthy. And again, in a place mentally where I'm like, man, I don't like the way I feel. And so again, I got to Cal and I got in a much healthier environment. I was around people that really cared about me. Coach Wilcox is such a good friend. And I've become a big Peloton guy and actually got into that over COVID. But so Coach Wilcox had a secret Peloton bike that was hidden in Memorial Stadium. And so Coach Wilcox and I, every day, we competed with each other on the Peloton. We would do the same rides. And then every day we'd have our ride in the secret key and we'd come down and got myself in a healthier spot. And then when I got back to Davis, it was just, now I'm in such a place of love. I'm so joyful every day that, again, mentally, I'm in such a good place. I don't know if they can see it, but I have my Peloton bike in my office, so every morning I come in and get a ride. I get a ride every day before I go home. I'm doing boxing down in the weight room with Coach Burke and Cody Von Oppen. So you just find yourself more apt to want to do those things because you're not in a place of negativity And again, mental health for me is really important. I've struggled with it my whole life, but I've gotten a hold of it in the sense of I still have my tough days, but I know when I'm having my tough days and how to get myself out of those tough days. And I told our players the other day, I told them a story that Coach Soker told me once of, sometimes when you're struggling with mental health, you feel like you've fallen into this hole and you can't get out of it. Like you are trapped in this deep ditch, this darkness. And it's like, I don't know how to get out of this hole. And he told me the story once of like, hey, this man fell into a hole and he was yelling for someone to help him. Doctor walked by, said, "Excuse me, doctor, can you help me?" Doctor wrote him a prescription, threw it down in the hole, kept walking, right? He's screaming in the bottom of the hole. All right. And then another guy comes by and it's a priest. And he says, "Excuse me, Father, can you help me?" And he says a prayer for him and then keeps walking, right? And I need to get out of this hole. And finally his coach walks by and he jumps down into the hole with him. And the guy says, "Oh, that was stupid. Now we're both stuck down here." And the coach told him, "Yeah, but I know how to get out."
Yep.
And that stuck with me for a long time of like, it's my job now to help guys get out of the hole, because I've been in that hole and I still might get myself back in there sometimes. And so my journey as with my health and my weight loss or weight gain and all that, they all tie together. And so I know when I'm struggling that I'm in the hole, but I also know how to get out.
Yep.
And that's been a big growth for me as a person.
I mean, it brings back memories of like my college experience. Was like a very dark time in my family's life. Lots of big issues, people leaving family, people struggling with addiction, like just so stressful. And I was the youngest, the first to go to college. At that time, I'm like, I'm the hero of the family. I'm going to make everything right. Like, I want to help everyone, which there's some good in that and there's some bad in that. And so, like, playing football at UC Davis, like, I have so many memories of like looking up at San Jose State and like my whole family sitting together, and it's like, and I'm a junior and I'm starting, and it was like, this is the moment where like, there's my mom and dad, they're sitting next to each other. Sac State, same thing. I remember like big moments in my life, but I also remember moments like after practice, like distraught over everything that's happening. And also just trying to make it physically on the field and really struggling like emotionally. And Coach Johnson, like sitting down on the bench, Mark Johnson sitting down on the bench, and he's like a tough nosed guy who just totally was there for me. And I never shared every aspect of what's going on and that sort of thing, but it was like the definition of like getting into the hole with you and just being like, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? How can we support you?" Like coaches have that opportunity, like so much so compared to, like you mentioned, like sometimes the professional people or people who are in other, industries or markets where you're like, oh, they should be the ones to help, but it's not always on paper
Right.
how things happen. So, I don't know if that brings up anything else.
Yeah, I feel like, it's that is our role. And I try to remind our coaches of that all the time. And I tell the team all the time, like, you got to be able to separate football and the person. But, Coach Pete always has this graphic of, person greater than player, right? And it's like, it still is always about the person. And if I'm coaching you strictly on football, yeah, sometimes if your football sucks, I'm going to tell you your football sucks and we got to get it right. But that should not change how I value you as a person, And so I still try to tell the players I love them every day. I want them to know that I care about them. You might think that you're lower on the depth chart and I don't like you. You're a bad player. The truth is, like, I love you just as much as the other player. Maybe your football is not as good.
Yeah.
But as a person, I'm going to be here for you and help you. And I learned that from those guys. You're right. Johnny was a extremely emotional coach, but I bet every single guy that played for Johnny would run through a freaking wall for that guy. Anyone I know that's played for him would die for that guy. But they feel the same way about Coach Bronson, Biggs, Morosky, Fred Arp. Like, they had a connection with their players that went far beyond just how many sacks you had. Right. And that connection lasts for a long time. And so to tie it back of like, why are Jake and Miles here? It's not because I made them a good football player. It's because they feel like there's a relationship there that they want to continue. And that makes me feel like I did the right things.
Yeah. I know you got plenty to get onto, including a great round of golf with those guys. Last two things, I would like to touch a little bit more on spring because I know a lot of people are like, we want to know what's happening with the team. So maybe the way to position it is like a player who's popped, and you're really impressed with how their spring's going on the offensive side of the ball, and then likewise on the defense side of the ball. I know you're going to want to talk about everyone, but I mean, anyone that comes to mind where you're like, man, this guy's been impressive. I like what I see.
Offensively, we mentioned the offensive line, but specifically, I do want to talk about Jaden Montanez and Jesniah Thurston.
Okay.
And that both of these guys have been waiting for their opportunity. We've had a deep room there.
Yeah.
And they are both thriving right now and are both going to play a lot. And they want to be a part of that starting five group. I know that, but regardless, those guys are going to play a lot. Jesniah has actually become a great center. And looks like he's going to be the future guy whenever Zaire's gone. It'll probably be a guy like him. Both of those guys, I just want to make sure I mention them because I think they're playing at a really high level. We all know how great Fisher is. Man, he looks amazing right now, and is as good as he was a year ago. I think he's going to take even another step. But, man, Mateo Perez is a completely different guy. I mean, he just, like, going back to the connections, I think he had some real personal things going on. Him and I had some long talks this offseason. He's going through the same thing that the Twins are going through, and people don't know that.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for him sometimes. Everyone's talking about the Twins. Are the Twins coming back? Are the Twins coming back? And nobody is mentioning him.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Right? But when the Twins won that appeal, that really means Mateo won too. And so he knows he gets to be back. Well, he didn't know that. So from January to today, Mateo has been practicing not knowing if he was going to play in the fall. And he has been just a completely different leader, how he's approached the day. I think he's going to have a great season in the fall. I've been really impressed by him. Cohen Parnell is a young freshman wide receiver. That's an early enrollee. The last few practices, man, he has really flashed. He is starting to really modern day kid.
Yeah.
He's got some real strength. He's a taller guy. He's a great special teams guy. And so he's been a real flash for us the last couple of days. Defensively, I know they all know this, but man, Drew Cofield has gone from playing as a freshman and being impressive to, if there's a better corner in the country, I'll be shocked.
No.
That guy has put on 20 pounds. He looks like a completely different dude. And I think he's a great example of a guy that could have left and made some money somewhere, but knew that he needed to develop, knew that he needed more time with Coach Burke and more time playing. He will be the best corner in the country, and it won't be close. I mean, he is a absolute nightmare for the offense every day. What a great player he's been. Jaden Few at defensive end. He was really behind Syke a year ago, but he wrecks practice for us right now. Has been just an absolute nightmare for the offense. Trent Carrad and Rain Mayo, that goes, they are great players, and they're continuing to be great players, and they really anchor what we're doing. But just a young guy like Jaden Few, seeing him take the extra step. The guy that's come out of nowhere is Julian Fernandez. He's a 6'6" defensive tackle, came from a small school in Bakersfield. Didn't know if we were going to have him play O-line or D-line. He is a D lineman that is wrecking the practice for us right now as a D tackle. Keep your eyes on him. He's having a great camp. Jackson Severs has gone from kind of waiting beyond the wings to having to play last year to running the absolute show and being the dude right now. Corey McEnroe is another linebacker that was a freshman a year ago, but I think he's having a great camp and doing some great things. Teague Sloan at safety is having a great camp right now, forcing a lot of turnovers. And then some of those transfer guys, talk about Hayden John, Drew Faulkner. Those guys are having good camps. Ty Richardson is healthy at the other corner spot. Yep. He's having a great camp. And just as a total look at it, man, our defense took a shift in the offseason. They really took a shift of saying, okay, we want to get better. They've been great, but I think they want to take another step. They've tried to reinvent themselves a little bit about what they're doing schematically. And, as a coach, I really respect that. Hey, we've been good, but we want to be better.
Yeah.
So they're doing some different things schematically right now that I think has been really cool to see. I think they're going to take a huge stride. And then the specialist, I would even imagine want to mention, we brought in, Robert, the kicker from Missouri. A guy we know from Colfax, he's flashed, but I'll tell you right now, Tyler Hughes,
Yeah.
as a punter and a kicker, has had a tremendous camp, and we already know about Dylan. So I think we have 3 guys now that can kick, and that's going to really help us in the special team. So I'm really, really excited about the team we have. There's some youth behind it, but you talk about the veteran presence of some of the guys we have, from the Winstons to the Sam Batus to the Zairs on offense, and then the Trent Carads and the Rain Mayos on defense now with the Connors Twins. You got some veteran presence with some youth. And that has shown the last 2 years to be a good recipe for us. So, but those would be some of the names. I feel like I mentioned the whole team, but I feel good about a lot of those guys.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you come in right away. You knew some of the class, like you talk about even Miles and being close with him and coaching. But ultimately, like when a head coach comes in, it's year 3, year 4 that you see like the fullness of the program because you have the recruiting classes that you have had your hand in. And so it's interesting to see the blend of youth and experience and to feel the foundation of back-to-back quarterfinal playoff appearances. So we're excited. We want to finish with money because it is what makes the world go round.
Mhm.
Like we do need this stuff in order to make things successful. Where we're sitting was a generosity of,
No doubt.
from the Davis community. And so there was the wine night, which was a huge success. We have the golf tournament coming up, but we're also in the middle of the Give Day campaign. So like, yeah, how do you feel we're doing in year 3? Like what areas are you impressed with, and what are other ways that people can be a part of this?
Yeah, I think, I hope that when you get in these places and you start talking about money, sometimes you feel like a beggar, or like I am super thankful for what we have.
Yeah.
And it has put us in a spot now where we can compete, right? And Dan Hawkins and Kevin Blue and Rocco and Flush and everybody, they deserve a lot of credit for what we have right now. And I also want to make sure I'm clear about like what I just want everyone to hear is I know what it's going to take financially for us to get there. Like there is a number set. And after 2 years, I've learned, okay, this is what we're going to need to get past the quarterfinals. This is what we're going to need to provide the type of environment that our players need to be successful on a consistent basis. And the main concerns are still the same things, right? How do we take care of the players so that they can just focus on being a great student and a great football player, and they don't have to worry about anything else? And the biggest worries that guys have are nutrition and living, right? Like being able to get those things handled is really been my focus since I got here, and we have grown a lot. But if we're just putting straight dollar amounts on it, like when I got here, we were raising about $400,000 a year, right, as a program, and we were spending about $90,000 on nutrition, right? And last year we raised over $600,000, for the program, and we spent, around $200,000 on nutrition, right? So it is growing to where it's going to be. What I've learned is we need $1 million. Like we have to raise $1 million every year for us to actually win a national championship. And so Flush and I have publicly been saying that's the goal. That's what we got to get. We got to get to $1 million. We need this many people to give $100,000. We need this many people to give $50,000. It can't just be Bruce Edwards.
Yeah.
It can't just be one guy. We need multiple people, and we got to do it with a group, right? We may not have the huge donors right now. I hope down the road we have people that can become that for us. But right now we got to do it in numbers. We got to have strength in numbers and have a lot of people. And so right now at this moment, we are already almost at the $600,000 mark. And we are right now on the trajectory of probably being around $800,000 raised this year. And so right now it's just kind of my final plea to everybody, anyone that's listening, that like, hey, we are really close to doing something that no one thought was possible. Like nobody thought we could win a national championship except maybe me and Coach Hawkins and the guys that were here, right? It's like, now we're right there. We're getting to the quarterfinals every year. We're 2 games away. It is right in front of us. And nobody thought we could raise $1 million. And yet we've already gotten to a point where probably right around 800,000.
Yeah.
How do we get the last 200,000? How do we win the last 2 games? And I just want everyone to know that, hey, where does the money go? It goes towards feeding the players and helping them live. And we have a great NIL deal that we did with Sterling Apartments on campus, where they're going to allow the football players to live for free in the summer to help them with their summer rent issue that we've had. But we're trying to get to a place where we have enough money that we can give to our players, because now that we've opted in and we can do NIL, what we're not going to do is we're not going to pay players salaries. We're not going to be paying for Ferraris and gold chains. That's not what we're about. We're not going to be paying transfer players to come in here. I'm talking about giving the guys on our team $10,000-$15,000 so that they can pay for their rent every month, that they're fed every single day with 3 meals, whether it be through our program or through the community, and that they don't have to worry about that. And we are so close to getting to a place where that will be a reality. And to be honest, Montana States, the Montanas, they're probably 2 times the amount that I'm talking about, right? And I would love to say one day that we get to that, and I hope we do. I really believe that we can do less than them and still beat them because of the environment that we have around here and the type of people that we have. And so I have been saying publicly that Davis has always been the place. Let's do more with less. Let's do more with less. And I've been publicly saying to people, hey, let's do more with more. Well, in reality, we are still going to be doing more with less. We're not going to have the same amounts that the Montanas have right now. We just need to have more than what we've had in the past.
Yeah.
And that number is $1 million. We have Give Day right now. Here's the cool part about Give Day. Normally on Give Day, they have all the athletic programs kind of in different groups, right? It's like, hey, the football team and the water polo team and the basketball team, they're in a team, and we're seeing how much we can raise. And then the baseball team and women's basketball, they're on a team, they're seeing how much they can raise. We've done so well on Give Day the last 2 years that we got kicked out of that. Like, football is not even allowed to compete with the other teams anymore because we've done so well on Give Day and raised so much. So that is what I mean by I'm thankful and grateful. Because of that, they've moved the goalpost on us. And they said, okay, now you're competing with the engineering department. Now you're competing with ag business, right? Like, you are competing with the departments on campus that raise millions of dollars. And so our goal is to have 350 donations by the end of Give Day. We're already at 150, and Give Day hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
So we're trending towards being able to get there. If we can get to 350, we have some donors that are going to give us some serious donations. Nathaniel Hackett, who I know was on your show, and Ajero Evero have agreed to give a large donation if we can hit a certain mark. And there's other guys that are on board with that too. So, man, let's get to 350, and let's actually show that we can actually outgive some of the departments on campus, and that'll show where we're at as a football program, the trajectory we're on. But let's get $1 million. Let's raise $1 million. And I promise you, I don't know what camera I'm supposed to look into, but if we raise $1 million, we will win a national championship. Like, I promise you, what we need to do is take care of the players here, take care of the staff. And because of the environment and the community that we have here, we will beat them on the field. So let's compete with them off the field. We are close to getting to that mark. But sometimes that last step's the hardest step.
Yeah.
And I would love to see us get to that 350 in donations on Give Day. And I would love to see us get to that $1 million mark by June. And we're going to keep pushing hard to get that done.
Yeah. Dwight and I got a chance to, one of Dwight's clients is the Giants. We got to go to opening day. Giants aren't doing so hot. I know you're a Padres guy. Yes, I know. I'm seeing all the Padres Instagram stories. So we're at the Giants game. We run into none other than the people's quarterback, Danny Alfaro. And, you know, we were just saying like about the wine night, because we're like, tell us about it. You know, like we both had conflicting events, couldn't go, and just the success of it. And Danny shared a story about going to events in previous years in the city, come meet the ball coach and stuff like that. And like hit or miss, you know, like, oh, is this going to be lame? Like
10 people there.
Speaking to like football alumni who are watching right now, like, should I go to the game? Like, am I going to know anyone there? Like, these are the real things behind some of the decisions. Packed, huge success, all the different generations, a lot of the older folks, like, so good to see young people there. Golf tournament last year, packed. I hope, you know, we'll be there in a week. I hope it's packed again this year. Season tickets, attendance last year, way improved. And so I think we all do believe like the trajectory is the trajectory. We
Yeah.
see it. And I think the cool thing is that even from maybe last year when you were on and that sort of thing, at times I felt that like that angst of like, we got to get there. We got to get there. Like, sounds like we're getting there.
No, I would agree. That's why I hope that, you know, privately when I've been talking to Flush or other, you know, it's, hey, don't come off frustrated, because I feel like, you know, but I hope it comes off more that I just care so much, and I know that we can do it. And I wouldn't ask for it, just like of players. I'm not asking players to do things I don't think they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
I know that we can do this. It's just about getting enough people involved. And if you come out here and see it, we have a guy on campus right now, Tim Prukop, who played in the 80s. His son was a great quarterback at Montana State.
Great quarterback.
And he hasn't been back here in a long time. And just him at practice and him communicating about how awesome it is. And now he's going to give to the program. And so if we get people around, I know they want to be a part of it. But I would agree. Like, I think the last few years, it's been the hardest lesson for me is seeing how far we had to go, and knowing that there weren't a lot of people excited about getting involved. And it was wearing me out, to be quite honest. I mean, that was the exhausting part of the job. That wine event was the real injection that I think we all needed. There was 180 people there. We raised almost $150,000 in one night, and we didn't even know what we were doing. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes. Thank God we had Kara and everybody there to run the event, but I think we're going to learn from it and even have a better event next year and hopefully build on that, and maybe we can double that amount. And so I think there's a lot more people involved. We're heading in the right direction. But just the way I'm wired, man, I don't want to relax or take it easy. I want to just, right now is the time to go and keep pushing forward. And my guarantee is that I'm going to keep putting together a team that you guys can be proud of. Can't guarantee we're going to win every game, but I guarantee we're going to play with Aggie pride and give you a team that you can be proud of, that we're going to compete every single game and give it our best shot. And we're also going to handle ourselves with class and do things the right way in the classroom. Our team GPA was over a 3.0 in the winter quarter. It's the second highest GPA in the history of UC Davis football. So we're still keeping the same things the same about Davis, the great things that we love. Let's add to that by financially supporting these guys in a way we haven't done in the past. If we do that, we're going to be in the championship game, and we're all going to be there together, and it'll be a beautiful day. I see that in the future. I know it's going to happen. And so I'm committed to doing that. And the reason I'm most excited is because I'm feeling what you're feeling, was that more people are getting involved, and that's going to help us.
Yeah. Hopefully it's in Nashville. I like that it's in Nashville. Want to go see Trevor Facey and hang out on whatever Main Street it is there. I will close with just a thought. Sam Herder is like the it journalist.
Yeah.
Sometimes we view journalists certain ways. Like, I like Sam, and something that he said that I did believe was he's seen a lot of programs. I even think about like Incarnate Word last year and how it was like, man, they were so good the year before, then really tough year last year. There's a lot of programs at the FCS level who enter the fringe and then come back down.
Yeah.
Enter the fringe and come back down. And then there's the same 4 or 5 programs that we all know who stay at the top. He was interested, like, can we stay there?
Yeah.
Well, back-to-back years right there. And I've said it on previous episodes this year, like, I feel like this year there's another opening.
Yeah.
We did lose one of the giants.
Right.
And so we're really excited as a fan base, as alums of the program, excited to support you and what you guys are doing. And thanks for having me in your office.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
Final word.
Yeah, I just appreciate, Brock, everything you've done with this. And it talk about, again, growing, like going from Zooms to, we got the whole setup here. We got producers. I mean, it's
Producer Paul.
It's growing, man. It's all becoming its own thing. And your support, I think, has directly tied in with, a lot of the different people we're getting involved in the program. I agree with what you said. I think sustainability is the hardest part.
Yeah.
As disappointing as, not finishing the job a year ago, the silver lining of it was that we proved we can get back and be a part of that. And there are a certain amount of teams that we're trying to grab at. And I do feel like fringe is a good word. I think there is a group that's broken through that have been there. And then there's a group that's kind of right below that's trying to grab that rung. And I'm just a full believer that this place has the power to grab that rung. And if we do, and when we do, I think the cool part is that there'll be a lot of eyes on a place that we all really care about, and everyone will get to see what we already know, which is just one of the best places in the country for college football and just in general, just the vibes and everything about it. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing. Great to have you here, and I'm excited about the rest of spring. Hope to see everybody. I hope you can make it out tomorrow to the spring game or see at the golf tournament. And again, let's just keep pushing forward. And I'm excited about this team, and I appreciate the support. I'm so happy to be part of Davis. My wife, Christine, and I, we talk about all the time just and how thankful we are to be here and the support we get. And hoping for another great season this fall.
Love it. Thanks again for your time.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.
Go
man.
Wags.
Yep. Go Wags.